Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this wonderful Thursday afternoon. We have great attendance today for our Self-Publishing Made Simple author work group. I am here today with crowdfunding expert extraordinaire, Lisa Ferland, and we also have a pretty packed and information-filled session here for you. So I am going to just take a few minutes to talk a little bit about what we'll cover. So I'm just going to do a brief check-in, take less than 5 minutes here. We're going to move over to Lisa Ferland and the topic of crowdfunding, and we'll do a Q&A with Lisa. I know many of you are taking time out of your day at work, so if you need to drop at the end of this and the Q&A session goes over, fear not, I do record all of these sessions, and if you don't already have access to my playlist, let me know. We have a Self-Publishing Made Simple YouTube playlist that takes every recording that we've done for our 12-week author work group and continues to add more great videos every week. So I hope that you'll benefit from that as well. Let's just talk a little bit about, for the author work group, where should you be right now? So in the reading, you should be through section 38, which brings us up to next week, video trailers and video. So, you know, it talks, our reading this week talks about book awards and why those are important, and also things like school visits. I did talk with Bobby Hinman. We have her, that she's going to do an extra session, a bonus session for this author work group. We have our work group ending mid-September, but that third week of September, she's going to do a bonus session for all that are interested in things like book awards and the additional retail sales and school sales that are kind of outside the normal elementary type sessions like we have shared with you in the past. So her focus is more around preschool and kindergarten. So it's a slightly different approach than if you're hitting school assemblies. So that is going to be an extra bonus session for the work group, and for anyone, it'll be also open to the public for anyone else that wants to join that as well. We have very little time left to be able to release, to work on your book before the Christmas season. So if you are struggling to get yourself ready for Christmas, then reach out to me, set up an author work group coaching session, and you'll find on my website, www.thelittlelabradoodle.com, there is a services area. Just click on services, and you will see author work group coaching. You don't have to be a part of my work group in order to get that. If you have attended these sessions or you're watching it on the replay and you want to get free coaching session with me, go ahead and use that service, and you will not be charged for the session. I want to help you if you are really interested in moving forward. I do have a couple of fantastic illustrators that still have slots open. So I would like to try to help you move forward so that you can get something in there before the holiday. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce this lovely lady that we have with us, Lisa Ferland. She is a mentor to so many of us who have worked on crowdfunding, and I have had one-on-one sessions with Lisa. She has helped, I don't know how many. I'll let Lisa go into the details of that, but just always there to help an author. And her authors are coming out of those crowdfunding campaigns fully funded, and it's just amazing to watch what she's done. So I asked her to join us and to give us an overview of crowdfunding and the secrets that she has to share. So thank you so much, Lisa, for joining us. I will allow you to go ahead and take control if you like. I have made you a co-host, so okay. I can stop my share and allow you to go ahead and share your desktop.
Okay. All right.
And feel free to introduce yourself so that we can know all about your background as well.
Great. Can you see my screen?
Let me see.
See. Oh, let me get back. Oops.
I'm not seeing it, but oh, wait a minute. That's right. I've got something hidden behind. There's a blessing and a curse about having two monitors. There we go. I see you. Yes, you look good.
Okay, good. Well, thank you so much, April, and thank you so much to everyone for taking the time out of your day to learn a little bit more about how to crowdfund your book. Now, crowdfunding is really great for children's book authors because, as you know, there's a lot of upfront costs related to illustrations and offset printing and all of that. And so more and more authors are turning to crowdfunding as a potential solution for this financial burden. What a lot of authors mistakenly think is that it's easy to do, or that it's free money, or that it's super, just something you put up and money will just roll in. And April asked me to share with you the secrets of success. And as you probably have figured out after going through, the secret to success is really just consistency, engagement, and producing super high quality work over and over and over again. So there's no shortcut to success, but that is the key to success for crowdfunding. So as we go through this presentation, as April mentioned, I have around 30 or 40 minutes. I'm going to give a high-level overview of what crowdfunding is, so you understand what it is and what it isn't, as well as determine if crowdfunding is a possible solution for you. It is not right for everyone, but there are things that you can do, and you can use the principles of crowdfunding in your regular marketing, because it is marketing. So no matter what, you're going to learn something today, whether you decide to crowdfund your book or not. And then if you are really serious about it and you're excited and this is a potential solution that you want to move forward with, then there are certain things you need to know before getting too far down the road. And we'll go through all of that. All right, so as April mentioned, I am mentor to many. I've been doing this full time, well, for 2.5 years now. It's felt like a lot longer, just it goes on and on and on. I'm currently at 120,000 on both platforms, Kickstarter and Indiegogo. And those are with authors who have worked with me directly. There are authors who have worked or used my resources who I don't know, and they don't factor into that number. So I don't really know how much I've helped, but just based on other people recommending me, which is so wonderful and fabulous, I get a small sense of how broad I have reached, which is my goal. My goal is to help, just like April is here to help you learn how to self-publish. My goal is to help authors figure this out, because when I was doing it, this did not exist. There was comic books and there was games, but there are no blogs about how authors can use Kickstarter and Indiegogo to crowdfund their books. So that's what I've been doing for the past 2.5 years, is creating videos and courses and blogs and interviewing authors and providing coaching services to help authors succeed at crowdfunding. And I've crowdfunded numerous times at different levels and for different types of books. And building an audience for each book was a completely different challenge. And as social media changes and as rules change, what worked 2 years ago doesn't work today. And so when you do hear from your panel of crowdfunding authors, take all of their advice with a grain of salt, because again, it's almost like, childbirth. Like once you've been through it, you know kind of what to expect, but each baby is completely different. It's like that. So it's the same with crowdfunding your book. All right, so let's do a high-level overview of what crowdfunding is. So crowdfunding is marketing on steroids. It is a crucible of marketing. So if you are in any way hesitant about marketing your book, then this might not be the right option for you. What it is, it's a time-limited round of funding. So you are doing a sprint of marketing. And what you're trying to do is get everyone rallied and taking action on your launch day. So you have a rapid support, a rapid push, a boost, a kickstart. And then from there, the rest of your campaign is supposed to sail into the goal of 100%. It is different from regular marketing in that it is very public and it is transparent. Everyone can see how much money you're raising and how many backers you have. So it is a very much putting yourself out there and putting your book in front of everyone. So let me just move this out of the way. I need to hide my video. Okay, so it is a public display of support or the lack thereof. And as I mentioned, launch day is essential. It is crucial because it is what determines the rest of your campaign. You have to really get a good boost from your friends and family, and then you will be able to reach strangers and start to get more readers who don't know who you are necessarily, but who trust their friend who recommended you, and so they back your campaign. It's a way to leverage your community. So I encourage every author to be a crowdfunding author. You have to support other authors crowdfunding their books. Like, that's part of it. It's, you can't ask for help until you give support yourself. And so what you have to do is you have to bring your platform, your community of readers to the crowdfunding platform to help you launch on that platform. So let's just say you're on Kickstarter. You have to bring your readers to Kickstarter and get them to back your book, and then you will start to reach other people who are active. Now, crowdfunding takes advantage of a lot of classic marketing techniques. Scarcity. It is time limited. The rewards will eventually disappear over time. So there's only a short amount of time for people to take action, which is crucial, because if your book is always there, they just will never get off their butts and back your campaign. So it has to be time limited, and the shorter, the better. 30 days or less has a higher success rate than longer. And don't drive yourself crazy. It's exhausting running a crowdfunding campaign. You don't want to do it any longer than you have to. It's great to offer exclusive rewards. So exclusivity, the whole idea is that we're offering something more than what readers will be able to get later on. This will spur them to take action. And we are limiting the rewards. You can limit in quantity as well as time. So there's a lot of strategy that goes into this, and we can talk about that later in the Q&A if you have specific questions about setting your rewards, but that is another marketing tactic. There's also fear of missing out. Social proof, demand, and popularity. When you say, yay, we have 100 new readers, people are like, wow, 100 people like this book, I should go check it out. Whereas when someone's buying a book on Amazon, maybe that's what the bestseller tag is all about. It's the same idea. It's showing this social proof. Other people think that it is popular, and therefore I'm going to hop on the train, like keeping up with the Joneses. There's also a lot of trust and likability factor at play here. People want to see what you're going to do with the funds. They're not just going to give you 20 bucks. They want to make sure that you're going to spend it wisely. And so there are a lot of things. If your goal is set too high, people will just discount you as you didn't do your research in terms of what's feasible or not. So there's a lot of trust that goes into that. We're also going to talk about the investment structure of whether it's all or nothing versus flexible funding, and what platforms offer which. Okay, here we go. So there are different types of crowdfunding. There's rewards-based crowdfunding, and that is where someone gives you money and they get a reward in return. So they get something for their money. This is not a donation. That is donations-based crowdfunding, which is further down. So when you're structuring your crowdfunding campaign and all your messaging, you want to let people know that they are getting a lot for their money. This is not a donation. They are getting something from it. There's also equity-based crowdfunding, which you may hear here and there. That is where more like startups are using equity-based. That is not allowed on Kickstarter, but Indiegogo does have an arm that does equity-based crowdfunding. And that is something more if you were looking at starting up a publishing company, for example. You need more capital than, say, a book. There's also donations-based crowdfunding. This is what we think of when we see GoFundMes. Facebook has a lot of donations-based crowdfunding. Around your birthday, there was hey, do you want to tag a nonprofit and start a donations-based charity run? And that's what it is that people just give money and they don't expect anything in return. And then there's debt crowdfunding, which is even less common, but that is where basically you pay the money back. So people put money in and you pay back at a certain interest rate. But we are just going to focus on rewards-based crowdfunding, so Kickstarter and Indiegogo specifically. Now, we have a chicken and egg problem when it comes to crowdfunding. So what comes first, the book or the campaign? Because you need an audience to have a good campaign, but you can't do that easily without first having a book. So how do you build an audience if you don't have a book? How do you sell something that doesn't exist yet? Now, there are authors who already have the book. They have the book 90% of the way done, and they use the crowdfunding as their big marketing push to launch their book. Then there are other authors who don't have the book at all. They have an idea. And what do? How do they get enough going so that they can turn the crowdfunding campaign, truly can launch their idea into something? Well, we're going to talk about that. So with the chicken or the egg, no matter what, you can't do anything unless you have an audience who will back and share your campaign on launch day. And it's important that they do both. It's important they back and share. So you need their support and you need their network. You need them to help launch you. So that's really key in the messaging, is you have to have an audience. Now, this audience could be your friends and family. It could be your 200 closest friends. I don't know. But you have to have someone who's willing to do this for you. You also really have to have a book cover done, mock-up art, something. You have to have something to show people. It's really hard to even sell the idea of a book without people visually attaching themselves to it. And it's too important. So you have to have a book cover mock-up, and I recommend 2 to 3 interior illustrations. This requires investment on your side. And that's what's required. It's really hard to do it in any other way. You also have to have a very clear why message. Why are you writing this book? Why should people buy your book? Why do people have to buy it now? And that is what I work with authors, is clarifying this why message and making it persuasive so that people take action. This is also a really great exercise for you to do, because this affects the rest of your marketing for the rest of your book's life. As long as you are marketing your book, you are going to come back to the same why message. The taking action, the call to action, you'll say, buy it now on Amazon or buy it on my website. But for your why, for your crowdfunding campaign, you will say pre-order or back or become a donor or whatever you want to say. You also have to know who your audience is. Who are you targeting, and where do they hang out? Or do they hang out online? Do they hang out in events? Do they go to conferences? Where are these people, and how are you going to get in contact with them? And then, of course, you have to be a supportive member of the community. So no matter what, you have to support other authors, share their campaigns, review their books, back their campaigns, whatever it is that you want to do. And then when it's your turn, hopefully they come through for you. But you have to be a supportive member. And if you do that willingly and gladly, more people will be happy to support you. All right, so some crowdfunding stats from statista.com. So these are kind of sobering, and this is why I try to help authors, because I want more authors to find success. There's really no need for only 36% of all Kickstarters to successfully fund. This was as of last year. 13% of flexible funding models reach their goal, and that's really referring to Indiegogo's flexible funding model. So only 13% of those reach their goal, and 36% of Kickstarter, which is all or nothing, reaches their goal. There are 2,000 crowdfunding sites to choose from, so you have tons of options. And if you live internationally, there are crowdfunding sites that are more native to each country. So each country now has their own growing acceptance and audience of crowdfunding. So it's just growing and getting more common. However, awareness of crowdfunding from the not crowdfunding people, so from just regular people, it's still rather unknown. And in 2016, they said 36% of US respondents said they had never heard of it, but I think it's way higher than that. I mean, if you talk to your aunt and uncle and your cousin, a lot of them may have heard it on the news, but they've never backed a campaign themselves. And so a lot of your work is going to be doing educating your audience on what crowdfunding is and what it isn't, just like I've done here. And Kickstarter by far is the largest platform. To date, they've raised over $4 billion. So they are the largest rewards-based crowdfunding platform. There are other that are equity-based that are larger, but we're not talking about those. So I'm here to tell you that you have to choose all or nothing, because all or nothing campaigns are 37% more likely to succeed over the flexible funding model. It doesn't mean you won't be successful. You're just more likely to reach your goal when you have an all or nothing type of setup. And why is that? It's because you're going to work really hard to reach your goal. If your goal is $8,000 and you're $1,000 away, you are really going to hustle to make up the difference. If you're like, hey, I get to keep it all anyway. Maybe you're not going to stretch or bother people or send another email or make that last phone call. So you do end up working a lot harder to reach your goal. It's also a lot more stressful to do it this way, which is why people are reluctant to take this risk. What it does is it shows that your investors, it shows your readers that you yourself are fully invested in your own campaign. You are telling them, hey, this book is not going to go forward if I don't reach my goal. So I am totally invested in this. I have all my eggs in this basket and I need this to work. So you're really exuding this level of confidence and security that I'm going to make this work because this is all or nothing. The keep it all model is just kind of like, I would like 8,000, but you'll still get the book if I raise 2,000. So am I more likely as a backer to give you my money? I don't know. It depends. So in all or nothing model, your backers are really pushed to help you reach your goal. If you ask them to share it with 2 more people, they probably will do it. Whereas if it's a keep it all model, they're less likely to do that. You're also going to set a more realistic goal. You're not going to have some pie in the sky, I want $100,000. You're going to set something realistic. If you don't reach it, you don't get anything. And your backers are creatively and monetarily invested in the production of your book. So there's a lot at stake here. Now, is crowdfunding right for you? These are the questions you should ask yourself. Do you have a book people want to buy? Not just your mom and your Aunt Karen, but do you have a book other people truly want to buy? And this is where you have to do market research and ask people and get people's opinions who aren't related to you. Do you have an existing audience who is interested in what you are offering? And if not, can you build an audience within 90 days before you launch? Really doing it beforehand, it's just a lot of effort to keep them warm and educate them. You're going to start all of your education sequence, 30 days out. So you really need to build and get your audience as big as possible 90 days before you launch. Are you willing to talk to strangers about your book? I mean, like real strangers, like newscast journalists, podcasters, social media influencers, all those people. The more external proof you have that your book is worth buying, the more likely your own audience is going to buy your book. Yes, people love you, but sometimes they need like that extra nudge of like, does someone else like this, like some other? I mean, if your book is featured in the New York Times, you're going to have a lot of strangers buying your book, and it's that external social proof that makes the difference. So if you're pitching New York Times journalists, more power to you. You're going to get a lot of good placement for your book and a lot of good social proof that your book is worth buying. Are you willing to make your success or failure public knowledge? This is where a lot of people shrink away from. It stresses me out. It stresses everybody out. The public failure aspect is really sobering and humbling, and it's really, really tough. So are you willing to potentially fail, or are you going to really hustle and bust your butt so that you don't fail? What are you willing to do? And then you really need to have the time, focus, and energy to set all things aside and plan your entire campaign for 90 to 120 days. That's really the minimum. My last campaign was April to May, and I probably worked 6 months on it, on and off, before launching. And I didn't take on any other work. I turned away all clients, and I said, no, I'm going to focus on my own work. I'm going to book myself because I needed to focus on my own book full time. And that's how much effort it really takes. All right, so Seth Godin, he's like, Kickstarter is not a profit center. It's an organizer and an instigator. So it's making you organize your thoughts and come at Kickstarter organized and really creatively pushing the envelope. It is not really going to make you money. It's going to get your project off the ground, which for a lot of us, that's all we're looking for. So here's some reality from crowdfunding authors. And I love talking with authors. You're going to hear from some next week. But I love talking with authors because everyone has a slightly similar but a different experience. So some people really blew it out of the water. Audrey, you might know her. She raised over $40,000 on her first campaign and over $25,000 on her second campaign. And even for a $40,000 campaign, she's like, it takes so much time and energy to do this. But it's so amazing to see people gather around your idea and put their own weight behind it. And so it really is this magical thing. I mean, when you get a book review on Amazon, you're like, wow, some stranger supports me. It's the same exact thing when you get all these strangers backing your campaign. These are strangers who are supporting you and saying, I believe in what you're doing. Rebecca raised $4,000 on Kickstarter, and for her, her audience was in Australia, and she said most people had no idea about crowdfunding and how it worked. They thought it was charity, and so she had to do a ton of education with her audience about what Kickstarter was. And sometimes it's too little too late. Like, you need to be getting all these messages to people before you launch, and that's part of the pre-launch process. Lisa Vet raised $11,000 and then some change on Kickstarter. And she talks about how the press coverage was somewhat disappointing. So it was great. She had excellent press coverage, newspapers, local news, international news. She was everywhere, but it led to no conversions. So she used the press features as proof that what she was doing was noteworthy, but it didn't grow her audience at all. And something similar kind of happened with Sherry, kind of sort of. Sherry didn't get the blogger coverage that her influencers had promised. They said they would blast out her campaign to their newsletter list, and then they didn't do it. So anytime you look at external influencers or people to share your campaign, look at that as a cherry on top. So when you're building your strategy, just know that you have to bring your audience. Everything else is extra because you can't rely on other people. No one cares about this more than you do. So when we talk about building an audience, it's just a circular cycle, never-ending cycle of creating high-quality, engaging content, sharing it with the right people, and then engaging with those people. And then you do that over and over and over again over time. And it takes a lot of time to create something, to share it, and then engage with people on it. Create, share, and engage. So if you can do this to grow in any way whatsoever. If you want to grow your Instagram following, you create really good Instagram content, you share it with the right people, and then you engage with everyone who interacts with it. And you do that a million times a day. Like, that's just what you do. If you are like, hey, I'm going to focus on my writing, write the best essays, books, whatever you want to write, share it, get it published on a third-party website, Huffington Post, I don't know. Submit, share, engage, and keep doing that over and over again, and you will build an audience. It's just a lot of hard work. So is this potential for you? What actually motivates people to support crowdfunding campaigns? My background is in data analysis, and I love looking at academic studies. And there was this fantastic study done in 2015, and it said basically it was comparing equity-based crowdfunding projects with rewards-based crowdfunding projects. And they asked people, like, what are you actually motivated to do? Why are you motivated to support this stranger's campaign, either by investing in equity or by getting the reward? And what they looked at was that there were some main motivating factors that we think we all know to help others. So there is this need to lift someone up and help them. People want to do this. There's another need to be part of a community. And this is where your engagement in the community is so important. If people already know you, they're going to support you in it. The third reason was to collect the reward itself. People actually want the thing. And number 4 is to support a good cause. Now, not every book, every children's book has a cause behind it. Some do. And if yours does, maybe crowdfunding is right for you because people want the book and they want to support a cause and they want to help others. Like, they kind of want to do all these things. Now, the only deterrent they found was that there was a distrust of the creator's use of funds. And this is where being as transparent as possible as to where the funds are going and how they're going to be spent on your campaign page is so important, because the only deterrent someone would have to backing you is if they don't trust that you're going to spend it in a reasonable way. So the 2 main motivating factors they found was that people just want the thing. They just want the reward. So create a book that people want and they will back you on Kickstarter. That's just how it goes. And then the trust factor was huge. So those were the most significant motivating factors. Everything else, helping others, being part of a community, supporting a cause, those were cherries on top, but it wasn't the main motivating reason why someone would support you on a crowdfunding platform. So good to know. Make really good rewards. All right. So before you launch, there are different phases. You should be at this right now, if you've never done this before, is you're in the research phase where you are trying to understand the psychology behind crowdfunding. And the best way to understand what motivates a backer is to become a backer yourself and support other campaigns. And I'm not saying spend tons of money, support a campaign at the dollar level and see what type of messaging comes back from the creators, establish a relationship with the creators, ask how they're doing, what kind of help they need, anything like that. And you'll see they'll be very happy to talk to you and very grateful for your outreach. And then we have the pre-launch phase, and this is where you're creating content, you're creating videos, you're creating funny memes, you're writing articles, you're lining up all your chess pieces and getting ready for your opening moves. And that's where you plan out every day of your campaign and you're busy educating your audience as to what to do on launch day. As I said, launch day is most important. And then while you're crowdfunding, you should be reaching out to new people every day. You should be writing, you should be reaching out, and be as creative as possible. This is why crowdfunding is exhausting on one hand, because you are using all of your creative resources to come up with new ideas, to change your marketing, to see what's resonating with people and do more of that. And it can be really tiring. And then if everything goes well, you have your options for fulfillment, where you will need to actually print and ship and deliver your books, communicate with your backers, and then, if necessary, recover and relaunch depending on what you want to do. There are lots of options. So the strategy is really, as I said, educate your audience, warm them up, get them ready, get them excited. This is an exciting process. You want them to be so ready to support you and like waiting for launch day. That's the feeling you want. You want it to be them to be as excited for you as you are for this to go off. You have to offer rewards that your audience wants, and that requires market research or asking them, and then basically get as many people to support you on launch day as possible. And take them behind the scenes. Give them something they can't get anywhere else. That's the perk of being a backer, is they get to see how all of this comes together. And then together, everyone celebrates your success. And then, of course, you have to fulfill and you deliver the final product, service, or event. And then hopefully you're maintaining this relationship over time. And they are your loyal core of supporters everywhere you go and for every book that you launch from there on. All right. So more ingredients, again, defining and crystallizing your marketing messages. You have to know exactly what your book does and for whom. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to find who your audience is. So identifying that is of utmost importance. Then, of course, you're building your campaign content, and this is where it gets into the right persuasive copy, not overwhelming your audience, building lead magnets, educating them, getting everyone else on board, so influential bloggers and journalists, authors, other crowdfunding authors, and then actually doing the plan, mapping out everything, creating all the content, and then adjusting as you go. Again, this is all the stuff you would do during a launch month, year, or launch quarter, I guess, but you're just condensing it all into a month. So why is launch day so vital? Well, depending on which platform you launch on, I only have statistics for Kickstarter because Kickstarter is very transparent about how much money is raised and what their stats are. I can't find the same stats for Indiegogo. But basically, Kickstarter has 46 million unique views per month. And if your campaign brings in high converting traffic to the platform, Kickstarter is a business. They want more new users. So if your campaign is bringing more new user registrations and is bringing significant funds to the platform, not even significant funds, but just significant funds of your campaign total, they're going to move you up in the visibility so that you get seen by more of their regular traffic. This can be a positive and a negative, as I discovered myself. My campaign this year was one of the projects we love, the Kickstarter projects we love, which has a special badge and gets shown to more people. Well, it also gets shown to more strangers who don't know me, who necessarily aren't, necessarily interested. And I had my first ever campaign cancellations. I had backers cancel their pledges right before the end of the campaign. And it was just so gutting to see people cancel their orders. And I'm like, why? Like, what was the point of that? But so you have these people who float on the platform who are just addicted to backing campaigns, but it doesn't mean that they are a new loyal follower. So it was really tough for me to experience that. And I've worked with other authors who've experienced it themselves. And I think it's a Kickstarter project we love curse, where you get all this extra reach, but then you get kind of flaky reach where it's not people who care about you or know you, so they cancel their pledges. So it makes it kind of tough. But Kickstarter has 2 million active users who are serial backers. Again, these are people who back tons of campaigns. It doesn't mean they are serial stayers, they're just serial backers. So that's good. It's good to know going in. You want to hit these crucial milestones. Ideally, you want to raise at least 20% within 24 hours, 30% of your campaign total by day 3, 50% by day 7. And this is if you have a 30-day campaign. If you have a 21-day campaign, you want to adjust everything even closer. And everyone here is probably going to have a minimum of 100 backers. I would say 100 backers will get you $5,000 there around. So that's sort of the minimum that we're looking at. And I have calculators to show you how many people you need to reach in order to get that minimum of 100. It's a lot. Now, if you're like, oh, Lisa, this is too crazy, I'm not sure I want to do this, you can use these crowdfunding techniques without crowdfunding, and you can do it on your website. I'm actually working with an author in the Netherlands right now who is running, two authors in the Netherlands who are running their pre-order campaigns on their website, and they are offering extra rewards with every pre-order. So they have their website set up with the rewards, and then ways for people to check out and indicate which extra reward they want. Now, the best way to do this is to make the rewards 2 times the value, perceived value, so that people are like, wow, this is a really good deal. One of the authors, she is a business coach as well. So she is offering her coaching time at a significant discount from what she normally does. So people who know her and are familiar with her in the community are like, wow, this is an excellent, excellent deal. I can't believe I'm getting coaching time with her for a fraction of what it would normally cost me. Of course, I'm going to select this reward and pre-order her book. So that is going well for the 2 of them. You can also, with any intensive marketing campaign, make it time limited. So run a short campaign. Don't drive yourself crazy. You could do 2 weeks where you just do a blog every day for 2 weeks, and you appear on some podcasts. Just make it so it's time limited so people take action. Also, so you don't exhaust yourself. Have a big launch day. Make it huge. It doesn't have to be like the actual book launch day, but just set a day and say, this is the day I am going to quote unquote launch my book and get it out there and drive all these pre-orders. You can, if you're really gutsy, make it all or nothing. Again, you can mimic the Kickstarter-esque thing. You can set your campaign goal to be low and say, okay, if I don't reach $1,000, everyone gets their money back. But make it all or nothing and see what happens. Also, try to be transparent about what your goal is and how close you are to reaching the goal, because the transparency will put you on the spot, and then it will build that trust. Again, the only deterrent was lack of trust. So put it out there and see what happens. You can also incentivize sharing and make your backers want to share your campaign. So you can create referral links. There are lots of ways to do this on WordPress. There are like extra plugins where you can create affiliate link. And so you can get them invested in the success of your project, where you are rewarding them for spreading the word and bringing backers to your campaign or readers to your book. And also support other authors and crowdfunding campaigns, of course. All right, so to recap, basically crowdfunding is an intensive marketing strategy that really leverages the strength of community to increase your legitimacy and social proof and to find new supporters. Is it a possible solution for you and your book business? Well, if you have an idea for a book that's somewhat formed or fully formed, you have at least a book cover and a few spreads, and you're willing to put yourself out there and do the hard work to build your audience before you launch, then I think you can. I think you can definitely do it. You should definitely avoid some key mistakes. You have to have an audience, you have to warm them up, and you have to educate them before you launch. Get them excited and ready to take action on launch day. And so the key ingredients, to recap what I would say, is tons of research, lots of audience education, outreach to other people of interest, and collaboration with others. Okay, so special offer just for this group. If you are interested and you're like, I need way more help, I need help building, getting leads and growing my audience, and building the campaign from the ground up, I have a comprehensive course that walks you through absolutely everything. And that comes with access to a crowdfunding vault with email templates, with copy that you can use to reach out to your audience, as well as to reach out to journalists and pitch what makes a successful pitch for all this external publicity that you're getting. There's also a super packed Excel spreadsheet to help you plan your campaign, as well as I have case studies in a lot of different areas and extra tutorials and ideas that you can to build your campaign. Now, if you sign up by next Friday and mention Little Labradoodle, you will get a free 40-minute strategy session with me so that I can help you customize your strategy and reach your goals. And you can find more information about that on my website, Crowdfunding Course for Authors. And if you're like, Lisa, I already know how to do like lead generation, I have an audience, I already know, and you want to raise between $10,000 and $25,000, I have a one-on-one coaching package specifically for you. If that's the goal of money that you're looking to raise, you need someone to help you with all that, because it takes on a life of its own. And we have six strategy sessions prior to launch, and then extra firepower and support on launch day. And I support you throughout your entire campaign. And I'm currently accepting applications for campaigns looking to launch between September and November. As April mentioned, we're running out of time for the end of the year, and crowdfunding has a season as well. And I would say September to November will be sort of the next fall season. And you can do that on my website, lisafillan.com/crowdfunding. And what you get in this group is the same. You get accountability, you get people to bounce ideas off of, me, personalized creative marketing strategies, and someone to coach you and push you when you want to give up, when you feel like you can't go on. That's what I'm there for. And you also get all my tools, everything, email templates, all of my everything you get, as well as all of my network, which I have spent years building and crafting people exactly who know what crowdfunding is. So there are two different types of people who are still beginners and need more help, and then people who are ready to take it to the next level. So I'm happy to answer any questions at this point, and I will pause there.
So I just want to jump in, Lisa. That was a really great overview and understanding of crowdfunding. For so many that we have talked about, in our work group, we have many who have decided to go with KDP because they don't have a lot of money. So they're doing their paperback launches through KDP, and they're publishing an ebook, and they've raised just enough money to really get the illustrations done. I just wanted to mention to the group here that if you feel like you need to then would like to go with a hardcover, so you don't have to stop with paperback and think that's the end of it. You can use crowdfunding and now your whole book is done. You can actually even offer people, a free reward just for backing you at all of your ebook, because it's already created. And you could ask them to support you in order to do a nice big print run of hardcover books. And you could have, if you raise a certain amount of money, you'll print this many books. If you raise an additional amount of money, you'll print that many books. It's a very easy to understand thing for people who are like new to backing projects. And I think could be really successful for you if you want to take that next step and have beautifully printed hardcover books. You're not going to have them for Christmas, but it is a way to move forward in getting to that next level with your campaign.
Yes, definitely. Thanks for mentioning that, April.
Yeah,
I think it's if you already have your book done and illustrated and on KDP, I have my books, the hardcover printing process just takes more time. So it's almost easier to you understand that the book exists, but not in the specific format. And so you have a better understanding of the timeline. You can give your backers a better estimate of what it is, and you can actually calculate the expenses much easier than if you were combining everything and combining illustration and editing and hardcover printing. So when you have a very specific goal like that, it's almost easier in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Great. And I think there was another question.
Sure.
Lauren had a question: what types of rewards should authors offer? Now, this is something that you discover in your market research when you look at campaigns that interest you, that are interesting to you, that are somewhat related to your book. You look at all the rewards and you look and you can see how many people backed each reward. So you get a sense of how popular those rewards were. And I wouldn't even go down the route of rewards that had 1 or 2 people. I would just focus on the big ones, because too many rewards dilutes when you give someone 3 options, they'll pick one of the 3. If you give someone 23 options, they'll pick 0. So we really want, when people land on your crowdfunding page, to take action and to identify exactly what they want very quickly. So with that, I would say the most common ones are ebook. And then I like to build mine cumulatively. So again, you want it to be 2 times the value. So I would always offer ebook plus the physical book. And then the next tier would be ebook plus 2 physical books, or, so that each reward is the next jump up, where they're getting a bit of a deal, but it's still much more valuable than if they would get it, say, on Amazon later on.
Okay. Does anybody have plans to do crowdfunding for their books, or a hope to raise the extra money for illustrations or printing of your book?
I've been looking at just research links, just looking at other people's rewards and everything. I don't intend to crowdfund until next year. But something that I was thinking of doing would be finding other creators and working together with them to create rewards from other independent creators that have to do with the story. So it's more of a, you're not just supporting me, but you're supporting all of these other creators as well.
Oh, okay.
I don't know somebody doing that.
Do you mean like people who are already directly related to your book?
No, I mean like for example, my story is about a ninja, and I know a lady who makes wooden swords for children. So using her personal shop as not only are you getting the book, but you're also getting this reward. That's also an independent creator.
Yes. Okay. So there are a few rules with Kickstarter. Is that not that, like, I think those are great, because but you can't crowdfund something that already exists somewhere else. So, and you're almost blending that, but I would say that would be like a good add-on of like, oh, if someone wants to add this on, what you could do perhaps is have her make like a special something that's just for your book, for your campaign, that doesn't already exist. So that would be a nice collaboration if she wanted to do Ninja Sword bookmarks, or like something very customized for your book that just your campaign would get.
So as a reward, I shouldn't use somebody else's product.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. But yeah, that's an awesome idea. And I think that bringing in other collaborators like that is so nice. And for example, I had a lot of collaborators on my first book because it was an anthology. So I had 20 or 24 authors. And so some of them offered editing services. Basically, they were donating their time, and they offered things, and those packages did not sell. So what I would do is whatever, because people knew me, but they didn't know so-and-so, so it didn't mean anything to them. So I would test whatever cool options you have going on. I would test with your audience first and see what they want. If people want it, they'll take it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And I see, Leah, you're looking to get everything together for a November launch. That's awesome. So could you tell us a little bit about what you're thinking? Let me find Leah. Leah, I've unmuted you. Just wanted you to share a little bit about your November plans. Do you have any questions for Lisa?
November is fine. The only thing I would just be careful of is Thanksgiving weekend. A lot of people start traveling on Tuesday, Wednesday, and they don't check back in till Monday. And there's a lot of other competition with Black Friday and then Cyber Monday. So you could end up with 5 dead days necessarily. So
yeah, that's true.
I would just be careful with that. It could sap. Oh, okay. You get some stuffies made for your book. Okay. Good. So yeah, I would just really watch out for that November holiday. Avoid public holidays. Don't, or because what it could really just sap your momentum if you're finally getting going and then you have a dead week. That could be tough. So I would almost encourage you to push earlier and try to launch November 1st if you're able to, and then end right before Thanksgiving. I don't even know when U.S. Thanksgiving, the actual date. Sometimes it's later, sometimes it's earlier. Right. But I would try to end before Thanksgiving so that you're good to go.
So Lisa,
November 28th. Okay, good.
Yeah, that leads me to a question that I have about timing in general. Are there months that are better than others? I'd heard that you should stay away from summertime launches because people are on vacation, kids are out of school. But I have seen some phenomenal launches this summer, and it made me rethink, wow, I put mine off. I should have gone in there and done it. So, is there any rhyme or reason to months that you should focus on that are more successful, or is that really not something you should be concerned about?
I think as long as you have your audience primed and ready to go, you can go whenever. A lot of people steer clear of December because everyone's buying holiday stuff right then and there. But I backed a campaign in December that was like Santa, or was elves, the 24 elves of Christmas or something. And so I backed that. I still haven't seen the project. But I backed it in December because it was Christmassy themed, and I was like, and I was just in the mood. You never know. I would say that, if you don't feel comfortable, if you are not ready and you don't have everything lined up, don't launch, even if it's quote unquote the perfect month. Don't launch. Just wait till you're ready. A lot of people put off campaigns in December and then again in January because everyone's recovering. Their bank accounts are recovering from December. And then February, there's a ton of campaigns that launch in February. So it's kind of like, now are you one in a crowd? So the success rate stays the same. It's just sort of how crowded you are. And sometimes it can be good to get launched along with other big campaigns that run. Like if you're with Rebel Girls and there's a ton of traffic in the Rebel Girls category for children's books, and yours happens to also be very similar, like you might be able to get some overflow, but there's absolutely no way to predict that. So it just gets tough. And, life happens as well. Like sometimes you have a parent who gets sick and you're like, great, this is in the middle of my campaign. Like this should not be happening right now. So there are a lot of factors. There are life factors at play. And then of course there's external things you just can't control. That's great. Hi. And I see some people I recognize. Hi, Nicholas.
Hi, Nicholas. And Nicholas, did you want to ask your question?
Oh, we can't.
Sure. Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
Yes. What did I say? Oh, yeah. Typical length. Is it? I've heard 60 days is good. 30 days is good. Is there a
30 and under? 30 and less. If you can do less than 30, I would say launch on a Monday or a Tuesday and try to end on a Wednesday, Thursday. So whatever length of time gets you that without overlapping major holidays, religious holidays, national holidays. Try to find that sweet spot of where your audience is engaged and where you are fully able to dedicate your time to it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, I'm trying to push people to be shorter, like 24 days, 21 days. Get in, get out. The first week is usually big, and then there's like a dead 2 weeks, and then the last week is big. So it's kind of like just cut out the dead noise and just have a big first week, a quiet second week, and then a big third week, and you're done.
So Lisa, I'll share with you that I hear all of your recommendations, but I'm afraid.
Yes,
Because
I know.
My first campaign, I had a lot of things that I didn't know, right? It was my very first book. I did a lot of things wrong. And it may be helpful at one point to just have you kind of go over what common mistakes are made. And what we'll probably focus a lot on that when we get together on Tuesday with a number of individuals who have gone through campaigns, and I'll share my experience there as well. But I've had an unsuccessful campaign. I didn't have enough followers. I set my sights way too high, and I didn't know what I was doing. So now when I hear do 2 weeks, I'm like, oh my God.
No, 3 weeks, 3 weeks, not 2 weeks.
Okay.
3. But I think, April, now you have you have a much larger audience. You have been doing nothing but supporting other authors and engaging with authors. And so you're going to have this core of people. It won't be everyone, of course, but you have this core group of people who recognize your name, know who you are, they're familiar with your work, they've read your books. And so in a lot of ways, you've done the work. You just had the cart before the horse before.
I did. Yeah, I did. And that's why I feel like I'm ready now. And I'm thinking that now is a good timing to start really focusing on the crowdfunding, because if I can do it in short form, then I can be getting rewards to people. And it could be like pre-orders for Christmas is kind of, so that they would get their rewards back in time to deliver gifts for Christmas. So that I think that would be really, really good for me. And my book is just about at the point where, it's going to coloring, and that'll take a week or two, but it's really close to being done. And I'd love to make hardcovers available and really have that. So that's what I'm thinking about doing. So it is scary though. It's scary, especially when you say all or nothing, because my first campaign, I did an all or nothing and then lost what had, would have been like I don't know, $1,200 or a couple $1,000 that was gone because we didn't hit our goal. So it is scary. And that's why having somebody like Lisa, because she's got all this experience, and when you've got all this stress and anxiety and you don't know what to do, you can understand that Lisa has been through it many, many, many times, and she can give you some really good sound advice. She can look at your campaign and really do hand-holding the same way I'm doing it for self-publishing. She has really made a name for herself over the past couple of years doing this for others. So I would, highly recommend, she has my highest recommendation for authors in this work group, and take advantage of that special offer, because you will not be sorry. And I would be the first one to click back on your campaign as soon as it's published out there. Me and Lisa both.
Yes, I am. I get a super backer for a reason, because I back everyone. Like, there you go. Most of my income just goes back into Kickstarter. Okay, I'm looking at the questions here. Leah has another one. A Facebook page in the works. Which platform works best to build an audience? So building an audience, when I'm talking about audience building, I want you to have their email addresses, because Facebook keeps changing the rules and the algorithms and what they show people, and it's very much a pay-to-play space, and it's becoming even more pay-to-play. So I want you to have people's email addresses, and I don't care if they're everyone you went to high school with. If you have their email address, email them, and email them a direct personal message. Most of my time was spent sending direct messages to people where I said, hi, I know we haven't chatted in a while, I just want to see how you're doing. And then we had a back and forth, and I let them know what I was up to. And that's the best way to get people, oh yeah, sure, no problem. Oh, would love to. Oh, can I share it here? Oh, and they come up with ideas that you didn't have before you went into the conversation. So the earlier you can start having these conversations, the better off you're going to be. If you're having these conversations the day before you launch, you're going to be super stressed out. So start having the conversations, tell people what it is, tell people what you're planning, and they'll help you along.
Yeah, and you've
Okay.
probably seen emails from me and posts that I've been sharing with authors. One of the things we're doing to gain email addresses is giveaways. I mean, of course, you want to connect to all the people that you know, your family, friends, colleagues, get email addresses from those folks and build that relationship. But adding a whole bunch of new email addresses is a goal for many of us because you can then build a following from them. Like many of them will unsubscribe, but if you can hold on to some of them. So the current rewards that we're doing now, or the giveaway, is worth $250. So it's gaining a lot of attention. It's a kid's tablet. And so far we've got over 1,300 people that have subscribed to our emails. So the authors that bought in with me to that, we shared the price of the reward, and we share the emails. And you'll see me highlighting them once a day. I go to the different authors, and we have a Patty Day, and everybody has where they record a video. They let people get to know them. So I'm going to be doing something on awards and some best practices that I've been learning that have been really helping. As I mentioned, I think we're going to hit probably between 2,500 to 3,000 email addresses from this one reward, and it costs our authors $50 each to buy into it. So that is a huge ROI, and out of that 3,000 people, you should be able to find 100 engaged people that will support you. So let's talk more and look for more information about that topic very soon.
Yeah, that's great. And with any newsletter list, any audience you build, you want to qualify them, because there will be people who sign up just to get the free thing. So you want to find out who's truly invested in you and interested in what you're offering, and then filter them out and get rid of everybody else. That's what I would do, so that you have a highly engaged newsletter. Okay, Jennifer C. Oh, I'm sorry. Leah, a Facebook page in the works. What platform is the best? Oh, building an audience, get emails, do the lead generation, do the King Sumo thing that April is working on. Get leads however you can, and then engage with those people, warm them up, track your open rates. So when you're looking at your newsletter, track and see how many people are actually opening my emails. Do I need to change my headlines? Do I need to change things? Do I need to send different information? Because you need as much information as you can so that your messaging during your campaign is as effective as it is. So are people reading and not clicking? Well, in that case, I need to make sure that I write things very clearly and give lots of white space, because they're reading it, they're just not clicking it. Okay, or are people clicking around? Are they clicking everything? Okay, Jennifer C., hoping for an October launch, considering campaign of fun illustrations and expenses, and then another one for hardcover sometime next year. Okay, that sounds good. You'll find tons of resources on my website that will help you, so feel free to check that out. Link and campaign code, I believe I did that in the bottom. I think I just did that from memory, so hopefully those work. Nicholas, my slides, thank you, I am very professional. I got my slide templates on creativemarket.com. I think I paid $19 or something for 200 PowerPoint designed slides. I'm not good at designing things, so I pay other people to do it, and then just do that. Melanie, special offer. Okay, no problem. If you are interested in the course, I'm offering a 40-minute strategy session with me for free, which normally I charge for. So if you enroll in the course and you mention Little Labradoodle, that's the code, I'll write that. Little Labradoodle, that should be easy to remember. Just so I know you came from here. Again, I have so many lead magnets on my website. I need to track where people are coming from. So just let me know that you came from April's group. And Little Labradoodle is the most memorable, I think. And then I will know to give you a free 40-minute session with me so that we can really help shape your campaign and get it in as good shape as possible. The course will help you, but it's always nice having someone be like, okay, here's what you should do. Here's a big to-do list. Work on these things first, and to help you prioritize exactly what you need to do. Right. And then, of course, I have 3 spots available for one-on-one crowdfunding coaching for people launching in the fall. I have limited spots available because I only have so much of me to spread around, and I want to make sure I can dedicate enough time to each author to help them launch. And that's where I'm with you for your whole campaign. So I really am fully invested in everything you do.
That's wonderful. This has been really fabulous. So thank you so much, Lisa, for your time and for the wonderful information that you've been so free to share with others. Anybody who would like to hang out with me because you've got some specific things you want to chat about, you're welcome to do that. I do stay after these meetings. And Lisa, thank you so much for joining, and have a great day, everybody. If you need to drop, go ahead, and I will continue to record and make whatever additional things come out. If there's additional activities or information that comes from the session afterwards, you'll have that available to you as well. Bye, Lisa.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. All right. So feel free to drop if you need to. Is there anyone that needs to have some one-on-one time with me? I think I had a couple of individuals that I had been emailing and talking with before the meeting that I told that they should probably jump on and hang out with me. Just let me know that you're here if you're somebody that wants to get through some one-on-one time together. Hi, Nick. How are things with you?
I think I need some motivation.
Aw. Well, I know you weren't feeling well. How's everything going?
It's still some issues, but I just got to get inspired to get back into the game. You know, I feel like I've been slowly stepping away from it.
Yeah.
It's so overwhelming, everything. I mean, I think Lisa did a phenomenal job today, but it just it almost feels like, God. And I've done this before too. That's the thing. It's weird about it.
Right.
But I just feel like I'm so close, but I just feel like that's why I want to do that show my stuff thing. But yeah, I'm just trying to finish up my artwork, you know.
Right.
And
Yeah,
so that's kinda
you're illustrating your book as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, I know a lot of external forces can tend to make things feel all that much more overwhelming, and I am glad to provide, some coaching time one-on-one, and where we actually go through, a mind map. I don't know if you've seen some of the mind maps that I created, but I'll show you a simple thing that I do as part of my session. Let's see if
I think you made one for me. I haven't even gone to look at it yet.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you need to make sure, like there are absolutely times when it's just not a good time for you personally. So you need to make sure that that's not what's going on, because sometimes emotional or things that are going on in our life can make it that much more difficult to really be able to share and to give what is really required for a successful book, right? You want to be able to do that. And I can tell you that when I was working like 80, 90-hour weeks for a while, this was when I first started my book, and I was so stressed, and I had a lot going on in my life, and so I would do a little here and a little there, and I kept coming back to it. And what kind of kept me going is I needed some sanity in my life. I needed a passion project because I was so unhappy with the corporate world and the crazy hours. So I kind of used my book as, my exhale, the passion that I had remaining, what little I had, I could get that much more just energy and love for putting some time into something that I really enjoyed. And as fate would have it, my job was eliminated, and I'll tell you, I couldn't have done more cartwheels I was so happy when that happened. Normally people are like, oh my God, I lost my job. I'm like, yeah, I lost my job. I did not want to be doing that work anymore. And I just felt like it was God's way of closing a door to something that was not good for me, not healthy, and opening the door to what I'm doing now with people, which is just support and love and hand-holding others and first of all, before I could even get there where I wanted to be, I had to learn how to do it all myself. So don't feel like you're on your own. I'm here. I'm not working in the corporate environment. I volunteer a lot of my time for you guys because I love helping other people. It energizes me, it injects up, and it helps give me passion and joy for what I do. So grab time on my calendar. We'll go through a mind map. Let me just see if I can pull up a sample of a session on what you can expect when we meet together. And these sessions don't cost anything. This is my way of being able to work with you, get you focused. Sometimes it's really, Nick, just about not trying to picture the whole entire thing that's happening. You want to be able to picture what's the next topic or the next actionable item. Don't look so far ahead because it can feel overwhelming, and I don't want to see you feel completely overwhelmed. So, you have to trust the process and know that you've got somebody helping work through that. So when I met with Stella, and she did give me permission to share this, she talked about how stressed she was thinking about like everything she didn't know, and all the things she had to do. And so we talked about her concerns. We talked about her and her books and the things that she had planned, which seemed, like I said, it seemed really overwhelming. And Stella too is an illustrator as well as an author. So she was kind of going through some similar things. I talked a little bit about what her current platform looks like for authors, but then we started putting a timeline together. When you see things in a plan, so I said to her, okay, when can you have your manuscript completed by? So we walked through that. We kind of put a plan together. Yes, she's going to have it done by the end of the month. And then give it a few weeks for editing. She'll have her illustrations complete by September, toward the end of September. And then I said, okay, it's going to be a couple of weeks more for some formatting. And so we started to look on the calendar and walk through it. And before you knew it, we said, you're looking at an October launch here. And we'll step through this every step of the way, one step at a time. Once a week, if you want to, we'll put a call on the calendar and just say, how are things going? What's the next step for you? So we can provide some accountability and also an opportunity to just de-stress and talk about fears and get a little encouragement. I think sometimes the best thing that I can offer somebody is encouragement to say, you can do this. This is not, it is within your reach. It is going to be exciting, and it is going to be an amazing journey if you let it be. And just look at one thing at a time. So what I told her is, just focus right now on finishing your manuscript. Let's meet in a week. Don't think about all the rest of it. Just trust that I've got you. We've got these things. I'll clear some pathways to make sure you're slotted. And as long as you stick with your path, you will be launching before Christmas. And you're there too, Nick. You're right there. It's just needing that extra, guidance and encouragement. So put some time on the calendar and let's do like a 40-minute or an hour session together where we can just let you talk about anything and everything. We'll, debunk any fears that you have and demystify what's coming. And that goes a long way. And when you've got a little plan put together, she's even talking about Audible, but everything's going to be done by October. So it doesn't have to be as scary as you might think. Okay. So then what we do also as part of our meeting is I have this little next steps and I drop things in as we're talking. Research about when a story becomes a retelling, because she's taking things like The Emperor's New Clothes, and she's taking the story itself and illustrating to it. But she needed to do a little research about, when you're retelling the story, or if you're changing a little bit to make it a little more easy for people today to understand, kids today, as far as the language goes, then is there anything that she needs to be concerned with? So I told her, between the two of us, she and I will do a little research about that. I did already make introductions to Bobby, introductions to Praise. I sent emails out for her. Amy Weaver as well, who's going to do her promo videos. Lori Wright, who is going to write her copy. And so next, Stella is going to finish her text and coordinate timing with Bobby. She's already in the midst of doing that. And she's also going to review her finances and make sure that she has a sense of what she can afford, and whether she has to pull back on some of these things like promotional videos and stuff like that. So she left feeling very comfortable with the plan that was in front of her, and it was an hour together, and we were able to do this. So I really do encourage others. I'm not here to take money. I'm here to give encouragement. And if there are additional services that you want or need from me, I have really good prices that I can provide you. But that's not why I do this. It's not to give you something so that you'll pay for something else. It's really just because I cannot wait to see all these amazing books come to life, and it energizes me to see them. And I see Patty's here. Her book has gone live, and I'm waiting and hoping that the paperback is soon to follow, Patty. And it is Patty's birthday today. So happy birthday! I'm so proud of you. And you guys are going to get there as well. So just be patient with yourself and use it as a stress reliever, and hopefully it doesn't continue to suck you into quicksand that can make you feel so overwhelmed that it's paralyzing. Okay. Anybody else have a question?
Thank you for the happy birthday, April.
You are amazing. I really, so I did, by the way, Patty, I just emailed Amazon. I think when I get off this phone call, I'm going to call them and ask them to let me know what's going on with your paperback and why they're not allowing it to be approved. I think it has to do with the fact, I'm pretty sure it has to do with the fact that we changed the title. And so it thinks that it's one title, and then we had to change that title. So it's causing some confusion at Amazon.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll have that resolved today.
Good. I hope so.
Okay. Anyone else have any issues or anything that you want to share? Struggles? How about just goals that you've been able to, or things to brag about? Hey, I did it. I didn't think I could, but I'm making progress. That's always a fun thing to talk about as well.
Well, April, since you're on this subject, I should tell everybody that we've had these sessions, and my book wouldn't be out if I hadn't had April doing this with me. She's just done so much. And she, I pay her something, but it's nowhere near what it's worth, because what she's telling you is the truth. She really wants to see your book out. So I can't recommend this highly enough. I just wouldn't have been able to do it without her.
Thank you, Patty. It's been fun, and I get to meet so many people doing it. Yeah, so, and as Patty mentioned, I do have some additional services for people who have a lot going on, or who need kind of a done for you kind of thing. So Patty is a good example of that, where she does not have a lot of computer experience, and she didn't not want this to be a stressful thing for her. So she pays me a little bit each month to manage her projects. So right now, so we've gone through the illustration process. So I coordinated and managed her whole project for her. And it has literally saved thousands of dollars in, you know, illustration costs,
Yes.
because I also work with the illustrators to negotiate pricing and contract and marshal everything through, make sure that we don't lose anything. I set up her ads, I set up her keywords and categories, and now am managing her ads and promotion as well. So that's something that Patty and I worked out a small fee for, and everything is going to be dependent on what it is that you need. And if you are like my friend Misty, who's on the line, she is somebody who learns so fast, and she has so much skills when it comes to going through her computer access, and I actually taught her how to do her own keyword and categories. So there are people that have totally different needs, and so, you know, I take a little bit of whatever comes my way from doing project management and things like that, keyword analysis, and I put that towards the things that help others in this work group. So, you know, paying for Zoom and paying for my keyword and analysis tools are around $200 a month that I pay for that. So it's a lot of cost and investment on my behalf. So I just put whatever I'm making back into helping other people. And I'm offering scholarships for my new work group. So if there are people on here that have not been a part of our work group, and you just happen to stumble across this group because it's a great topic today, think about it. I've got a new work group. I'm going to put the URL here in the notes, but it is thelittlelabradoodle.com, and then you can go to author-work-group, and you can hear all about it. Our new 12-week work group, which Patty was a part of, Misty's a part of, we're on week 10 now. So we're kind of starting to focus on the winding down. We've got probably 3 or 4 books that are going to be finished in that next 2-week period. And so a huge accomplishment in going from not having anything except a manuscript to then having a finished book in 12 weeks. We teach you everything from A to Z, and we have great speakers like Lisa that come in, and the group is, the newest group is starting on September 30th. And so far, registration has been really, really slow. So I need to focus a little bit more on promoting some of the stuff that I'm doing with this new work group. But if you are interested and you want to know more, check out that page and feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be glad to talk through what's offered. And you know, it's truly a mastermind, and it's kind of, you could kind of consider it a boot camp, because you're getting all of my project management skills, everything that I just talked about that I did for Patty. This new group, instead of offering a free group and then for people that want to go deeper with me, like Patty and Misty, offering extra services, I've decided in this group I'm going to offer these extra services so that everybody is going to be able to be successful, and I will manage all the projects and marshal it all through, so the fee is included in the new author work group. So you will see a charge for that, but there is early bird pricing, and you know that what you'll pay for the work group is going to be nowhere near what you'll save by going through the process with us and the length of time that it takes. I can say, if you engage now and you've got, like Stella, you've got a manuscript that you know is almost there. Remember, Stella doesn't have a lot done, and yet we can still go through this whole thing and have her book be ready before Christmas. So again, if you need one-on-one or you need to get into a group that supports one another, go ahead and check that out, and reach out to me personally if you want to connect one-on-one. You can reach me by email at april@thelittlelabradoodle.com, and I'm glad to talk with you specifically about your personal situation. Okay. I should also mention that I do offer scholarships. So if you see the price on that work group and you cannot, you know, you've got financial issues and it's too much for you, I will work with people and use some of the funds that are coming into me to provide scholarships and free opportunities for people that cannot do it, and especially for youth. I also have additional scholarships available for the work group for those who are, for youth that are writing their own books and they want help getting them published. Any other questions, topics, issues before I let everybody go? All right, well, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will have the replay posted for this. I'm gonna hope to get all the videos up shortly. More to come. And if you want more on the crowdfunding, then check out our Tuesday meeting, which is on the events page. We have a lot of really great speakers in this speaker series. So check out my website and then go to the event page, and you'll see a list of other free speakers that you can join on any of these topics. Have a good day, everybody.